Hi, welcome to SBR TV. I'm Peter Loshak. Right now, I am very happy to welcome Professor I. Nelson Rose to SBR TV. Professor Rose is one of the most prominent scholars in the world concerning internet gambling law, and he's kindly agreed to do an interview with SBR about the current state of internet gambling law in the United States. His website, which I highly recommend if you are interested in the legal aspects of internet gaming, is gamblingandthelaw.com. He's got lots of interesting articles and links and content there, and you can also sign up for his newsletter there as well. It's really the ultimate resource online for legal information on gambling. So, Professor Rose, thanks so much for your time and for doing this interview with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the introduction.
So first, let's just get a little background info about you, who you are for those who don't know, and briefly tell us what you do and how and why you got involved in the area of gambling law.
Good point. I went to Harvard Law School in the late 1970s, and Harvard at that time required a publishable paper to graduate, and I figured nobody was going to want I. Nelson Rose, law students' thoughts on contracts, and legal gambling. Atlantic City had just legalized, and legal gambling was, and to still some extent is, the fastest growing business in the world.
Sure.
And what I discovered through my research was that legal gambling had spread. I was focusing on America, but it's the same around the world, had spread twice before and had come crashing down. So I predicted, I said we're in what I call the third wave of legal gambling. This is the third time in history that gambling will spread everywhere. And at that time there were almost no state lotteries. There were only 2 states that had casinos. And everybody in the industry thought I was crazy. Now they all think I'm a genius. So, and then I'm a professor of law. I teach at Whittier Law School, also at the University of Macau, which is now the largest casino jurisdiction in the world. And but I do a lot of writing and consulting. So I've been working with clients, and I've been fortunate. I always try to not only keep on top of what's going on, but try to get ahead. But I've got clients who are even smarter than that. And so I got involved in Indian gaming when there really wasn't any Indian gaming. I gave legal opinions. I've worked with the largest internet gaming operators starting in the early 1990s. I wish I had been able to realize, gee, I should be. But I've worked with people who literally, I have clients now who literally are billionaires.
Sure.
Amazing. And so I still, and now as it's become more international, I'm working with governments and industry, and I act as a consultant and an expert witness, and of course also do a lot of writing, like my books on internet gaming law.
Wow. Well,
and the gambling and the law column, which appears, worldwide.
Sounds like a fascinating and exciting life. I mean, gambling law is so dynamic because it's so dependent both on like local legal situations and technology. I mean, it gets wildly, blown one way or the other by both of those things, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are just amazing things going on. Like, I presented a paper on whether a tribe in Canada could be licensing internet gaming, which of course we know, the Kanawakis are doing. And I did that many years ago. And the reaction I got from lawyers is, what are Indian tribes? I didn't know there were Indian tribes in Canada. And what's internet gaming? So it's amazing to be looking at areas that no one has ever looked at before.
Yeah. And it's pretty interesting how, like, all of this is just caused by people's, sort of puritanical aversion to gambling. I mean, if people didn't have a problem with it, it would just be an industry like any other, and you could do whatever you want and just pay your taxes, and that's it.
Well, it's the third wave theory really does explain a lot, because changes in society always precede changes in the law.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in a puritanical period, which seems to occur about every 70 years. Think back to Victorian morality. Then everything is outlawed, and you could end up with really extreme laws on the books, like the Harrison Drug Act, which was the death penalty for first-time users.
Wow.
This was, the law of the United States in the 1910s. So everything gets outlawed. Then, in this case, it was 1931. The Depression hits. Even Nevada outlawed its casinos. Now, 1931, Nevada re-legalizes casinos. Every year since then, we have had an expansion of gambling. Gambling is now acceptable, and the laws are slowly changing to keep up with it.
Right.